Coming up on Carolina Week.
Bradley Calvin Opere has won the race with 53.
We'll talk to the new student body president, Bradley Opere.
Preachers on our coast are enduring hard times this winter.
And roses are red, violets are blue. We have one question: is Tinder for you? We look at dating on social media. All that and more. Carolina Week starts
right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to Carolina Week. I'm Avery Hall. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Luis Fernandez. We have a change at the top of UNC student government. The student body has a new president-elect. Bradley
Calvin Opere has won the race with 53.
Bradley Opere, a junior from Kenya, will serve as UNC's student body president for the next school year. The Morehead-Cain scholar won with 53% of the votes, beating candidates Wilson Sink and John Taylor. Voter turnout was the highest in 5 years, with nearly 7,000 people submitting ballots. The new student body president will be talking with us live about his big win in just a few minutes after he gets out of classes.
A year ago today, the UNC and North Carolina state communities were shocked by the deaths of 3 students. This week, the community comes together to remember them.
February 10th, 2015 is a day that many will never forget. Dia Barakat, his wife Yusur Abusala, and her sister Ruzan Abusala died in a Chapel Hill apartment, shot dead at point-blank range. The same night, Craig Hicks surrendered to police. Authorities have charged Hicks with 3 counts of first-degree murder. He awaits trial in Central Prison in Raleigh. He could face the death penalty if convicted. Police called the shooting the outcome of an ongoing parking dispute between the shooter and the victims. The victims' families say it was something else entirely. They call the shooting an anti-Islamic hate crime. The FBI is still investigating Hicks' motives. A year later, the victims' friends and families are honoring the lives of the Barakats and Abusala. The UNC Muslim Students Association hosted a Stop Hunger Now service event Monday. Volunteers packed 25,000 meals in 3 hours. Today, people gathered for a ceremony at the UNC School of Dentistry, where Barakat was a student. A campus-wide moment of silence honored the 3 victims. In Chapel Hill, I'm Maura Devetsky reporting.
There will be another memorial at North Carolina State University's Stafford Commons tonight at 6 p.m.
Spring break is only a month away, with some students planning vacations to the Caribbean. Health reporter Anik Joseph joins us live to talk about a new threat and what spring breakers can do to protect themselves and others.
The officials are concerned the Zika virus can hitch a ride on potential infected tourists and get into the U.S. mosquito population. Ponds like this can produce millions of mosquitoes when the weather gets warmer.
UNC student Becky Scheibel isn't changing her spring break plans. She's going on a cruise to the Caribbean in March, a Zika hot zone.
Now that you kind of bring that to light, maybe I have a little bit more concerns.
UNC physician Mike Cohen says in the past year, Brazil saw at least a 20-fold increase in the number of babies born with small heads, a symptom of the Zika virus.
The mosquito isn't seeking out pregnant women, okay? It doesn't know who's pregnant and not pregnant. The mosquito just wants blood.
There are no vaccines for Zika, and people with this virus have mild symptoms, making it harder to prevent and detect.
Now, a lot of rules of the Zika virus are unknown, and that's a big problem. The gravity requires aggressive action even before we're sure.
Last spring, the Pan American Health Organization issued an alert about the first confirmed Zika virus infection in Brazil. Later, public health officials reported some Brazilian women infected with Zika had delivered babies with small heads, what doctors call microcephaly.
And a mosquito can acquire the infection from an infected person and bite the next person.
Brazilian health officials say cases of microcephaly have increased to more than 3,000 since October. Cohen says if you're going to Zika hot zones, you should take precautions.
Think about getting bitten at dawn and dusk. And I would wear longer clothing, and then all these DEET-related repellents work. So I would use them lavishly.
President Obama has acknowledged the threat Zika poses. Earlier this week, he asked Congress for nearly $2 billion to combat the virus. Lewis?
Anik Joseph, live on Central Campus. Thanks.
Out with the old and in with the new. Chapel Hill residents are saying adios to Los Potrillos, or Los Pos, as many call it. After 13 years in business, the Mexican eatery on West Rosemary Street, you can hear students there, they're gonna miss it. This eatery on West Rosemary Street is going to be closing and be replaced by a 4-story Marriott hotel, complete with a parking garage and more than 100 guest rooms. In the meantime, students are flocking to the restaurant for one last margarita.
A popular Chapel Hill bar will lose its alcohol license for 3 weeks, prompting a surge of customers before they close. Reporter Kaylee Veed shows us what led to the temporary shutdown.
He's Not Here has been a Chapel Hill staple for more than 40 years. Customers stop by to listen to music, play a game of darts, or just enjoy a blue cup. But the bar has been linked to the fatal crash this summer involving 20-year-old UNC student Chandler Kania. Police say He's Not Here was one of 2 bars where Kania drank the night he drove the wrong way on the highway and killed 3 people. ABC Commissioner Jim Gardner says the punishment is based on 3 violations that occurred that night, including selling to an underage person, and serves as a reminder of what happens when establishments don't fulfill all of their responsibilities.
We, first of all, don't ever want to put anybody out of business, but we've got to get across to anybody that has a permit that it's a privilege to have an alcohol permit in the state.
But according to one He's Not Here employee, rumors of He's Not Here's potential closing this year have led to more customers, afraid they might not get another chance to enjoy everything the bar has to offer. UNC senior Jen Polvino says she's heard plenty of rumors about the fate of the bar.
Yeah, I've heard multiple times since the beginning of this year that He's Not might close.
Making coming to He's Not Here even more of a priority.
Just had to come and get my blue cups in.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Kaylee Veed reporting.
He's Not employees didn't want to discuss the financial hit they could take by shutting their doors for 21 days, but they did say winter is typically their slowest season.
We've got the big man on campus coming to our studio.
We'll talk to the new student body president about his plans for taking office.
Joining us now is the newly elected student body president, Bradley Opere. Congratulations, Bradley. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So my first question is, you received 53% of the vote. That's huge. Why do you think students picked you?
First of all, I'm really humbled that 53% of the student body picked us. It caught me by surprise myself. I think it boils down to some great work from a great campaign team and the ability to inspire a lot of students to come in and, you know, finally want to have a change and someone who can speak out. And I think we lived up to the spirit of community that we wanted in the first place, that would bring different people together on the same page, and 53% is a really big number, and we have to build on it from now on.
Yeah, it's very impressive. You talk about that change. Now that you have been elected, what's the first thing that you plan on doing?
Well, the first thing right now is getting good people on the team. The first order of business, if you really want to be successful, is to surround yourself with people who are cleverer than you. And so I will be spending the next 2-3 weeks ensuring we get the word out in different places so that applications come in thick and fast. And once we have a good team, then 50% of the job, I think the foundation will be set for that. Yeah.
All right, a man with a plan. That's Bradley Opere, new student body president. Thank you for joining us, Bradley, and best of luck in the fall.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to coming again.
Awesome. You know, now that we have students, they voted for SBP, one group is hoping that we'll be motivated to get involved in politics beyond the borders of campus. Armed with yellow hats, pens, and clipboards, every Wednesday from 11 to 2, a group called Tar Heel Vote hopes to hit the pit. They're helping students register to vote and having some selfie-worthy fun in the process. Students and NC PIRG campus coordinator Taylor Moss says students will have a lot of questions.
With so many bikers and pedestrians in our area, it's important to consider their safety and their convenience. Representatives from Stewart Engineering and Design hosted an interest meeting on Tuesday to get citizens' opinions about improvements to Estes Drive that would benefit bicyclists and pedestrians. The company presented multiple options to enhance Estes Drive, and then locals used stickers to mark their favorites. Planners hope to begin construction in late 2016. Wilson Library's Southern Historical Collection is the recipient of a $500,000 grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. The grant will help establish a permanent archivist position for African American collections and outreach.
Chapel Hill Public Library is taking a step into celebrating Black History Month. The library invited elementary students from the Stone Center's outreach program, Communiversity, to perform for the community. UNC students worked with the outreach program to provide lessons, teaching the kids how to hold their heads up high and speak in public. Organizers say celebrating Black History Month is for everyone.
Severe winter weather creates many challenges for North Carolina residents: slick roads, trapped cars, and electrical outages. But for North Carolina wildlife, frigid temperatures can be a matter of life and death. I took a drive to the Outer Banks to see what people are doing to protect one endangered species in crisis.
The beach, a place for playing in the surf and hunting for shells. But seashells aren't what residents of this beach near Frisco are finding on the shore today. Turtles, many dead or dying, are washing up by the dozens, victims of what's called cold stunning. Recent blasts of winter weather caused an unexpected drop in temperatures near the Outer Banks, stunning hundreds of turtles into hypothermia. Unable to swim or defend themselves, they become easy prey or get stranded in the sand where they often die. Their only hope, year-round residents like Frank Wells.
If we don't find them, they will not survive.
Wells and other locals are taking their endangered friends into their own hands.
We had very few losses out of 350 turtles in 2 days at one point.
Wells says this year's event is unparalleled.
The most I ever found in one day up until this year was 9. With help from other people, we brought in 63 turtles in one day.
Wells and other volunteers rush to the beach when someone spots surviving turtles. Green turtles can fit in your hand. These loggerheads require multiple volunteers and a truck. It's often visitors to the beach, not trained volunteers, who discover these turtles first. Volunteers rush to clean them, feed them, and warm them up, while vets treat injuries and illnesses. The work doesn't pay, but for many, saving the lives of these beautiful creatures is payment enough.
Volunteers especially will stay here all day just to help us, which is awesome. And they do that because they love the sea turtles.
Until spring warms the waters again, those volunteers still have plenty of turtles to save.
Because Nest is a nonprofit, donations are an easy way to help with the rehabilitation efforts. But for anyone who can travel to the Outer Banks, the group is always willing to train new volunteers for rescues.
We have Carolina blue skies today, but it might not be that way for long.
Matt Jones says to be prepared for colder temperatures and maybe a new set of storms.
Welcome back, Carolina. So I'm meteorologist Matt Jones for your Carolina week weather. And so we've seen the last couple days and getting into 2 weeks in February, we saw highs to start off in the 70s. And then to top this all off, we had Punxsutawney Phil come out and tell us, hey, we're going to have a warmer summer or a warmer spring coming sooner. And then actually something scientific to back this all up. We had our last climate report say that towards the end of February, early March, we're going to see things warm up and be above average. So with all this talk about things getting warmer, what does Mother Nature do? She brings us a huge batch of Arctic air, and this is actually going to come in right from the Midwest through the Carolinas, which is going to make things really cold for the next couple of days. So as that slowly makes its way through the Mississippi Valley, come tomorrow, a high pressure system is going to dominate the entire East Coast. This is going to bring bright and sunny skies, but normally these aren't too favored conditions if you want some warmer weather. So as that Arctic air sets up over the Ohio Valley, things are going to get really chilly as we get into the weekend. If we look at our satellite, our cloud cover right now, through the deep south, you can see no clouds visible, and then we look over to the Ohio Valley. This is going to lift off to the northeast and bring some sunshine conditions. So this is really good news if you want some warmer temperatures in the day, but as nighttime comes around, all that warm air at the surface is going to lift. We all remember warm air rises and dissipate for really cold temperatures as 19 degrees for tonight's low, and then tomorrow we're going to warm up, barely get into the upper 30s, so we're going to hit 37 tomorrow, and then our class by class schedule. So as we wake up 6 a.m. and around 8 p.m. we're looking at mid to upper 20s, and then by the time the seniors wake up around 10 a.m., we're looking just barely over freezing temperatures, and then our high tomorrow at 37 degrees and sunny skies. So the game this weekend against Pitt, we're looking at temperatures 25 degrees. So if you're going to be outside more than a couple minutes, maybe an hour, we're looking at very cold temperatures, and the high for Sunday barely getting out of the 20s. So this is definitely going to continue as the weekend moves on. So if we look at our 5-day forecast, there's some things we need to notice here. We're looking Thursday, Friday, things are going to warm up 41 degrees, but that's just going to be our high for the next couple of days. And so we look into Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, high of 37 degrees, Sunday a high of 31. There's our cold temperatures we talked about in that high pressure system dominating the area. But if we look into Saturday night, so if you're going to go out, make sure you bundle up. It's going to be absolutely freezing. This is going to continue as we get into Sunday night as well. And then also I want to talk about, I have a raindrop here for Monday, but there is something more significant coming around. We're looking at some winter weather. That's right. If we extend this forecast out to 7 days, just past and beyond this, we're looking at a winter weather event. We could see some icing, we could see some snow, we could also see some accumulation. So this is a far cry. So before we get into those warmer temperatures like we talked about, come late February into early March, we're going to have to get through this batch of weather as we get through the cold and we make our way into early next week. So as we look on further, the National Weather Service has us getting some icing conditions, but for the most part, it's going to be the cold that gets us the most. So as we continue on, hopefully that warm air comes pretty soon.
Wow, well, you know, we talk about the icing. How many days off could we possibly be looking at there, Matt?
I can't tell you right now how many days we're going to get off, but the National Weather Service is still pretty concerned about this event.
Well, it sounds like just to be safe, we should probably go ahead and cancel, right?
Hey, this sounds good to me.
All right, that's Matt Jones. Thank you so much, Matt. So the Tar Heels barely squeaked by Boston College last night.
Why Coach Rob stepped up for Coach Roy. Next.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Jordan Black with sports. Carolina men's basketball barely squeezed out that W last night against a Boston College team looking for its first conference win. The Heels struggled, but they pulled it out with a big contribution from Justin Jackson. Finally, he had the team high 20 points. Take a look at this. Roy Williams falls on the court, and you see him stumble there, and then he grabs his head. He later went to the locker room and returned late after the game had ended. Now, he's had episodes with vertigo before, but he's doing okay now. Their coach, Steve Robinson, stepped in and led the Heels to another ACC win after 2 consecutive losses. Marcus saves the day. Heels tough it out 68-65. Now, UNC will go from the pit of despair to a home game this Sunday against Pitt. 2 names to watch out for are Michael Young and Jameel Artis, the team's leading scorers. Pitt has sputtered to a 6-5 start in conference play despite an efficient offense. A week from today, the men's basketball team hosts arch rival Duke. While UNC students are awaiting the results of the lottery, Brett Thompson says hello from the other side as he finds out how the dark blue ticketing process works.
UNC and Duke have the distinction of being arguably the most heated rivals in the NCAA. Thanks to Duke's devoted Cameron Crazies, it's become especially intense.
Every year, students come out and tent out for the North Carolina game. We have about 100 tents out here, and students will start tenting right as they get back from winter break.
Tenting is on a first-come, first-served basis, with headline monitors like Senior Will Bobrinskoy performing tent checks. Each tent holds 12 students.
So we make sure that there is order in K-ville. We make sure that everyone who is in line and in a tent is actually.
There are 3 different phases of tenting. First comes a 2-week black tenting period when 2 of the 12 students must be in the tent during the day and 10 of the 12 during the night. Then there is a 2-week blue tenting stage when 1 student must be in the tent during the day and 6 must stay overnight. Finally, it's the white tenting phase when 1 student must stay during the day and only 2 have to stay overnight.
Later in the season, they start to get more and more upset with us over time. But everybody's here for the same reason, and everybody really enjoys it.
And if you don't want to live in a tent for 3 months, there's one alternative.
There's no way to guarantee it, but we do have a walk-up line that starts 3 days before the game. So those students can't actually have tents, but they bring chairs and sleeping bags and sleep out on the sidewalk for about 3 nights.
With all of this dedication, it's no surprise that Duke fans hold themselves in high regard.
We're probably the loudest fans in the country within any sport, and you can definitely tell when you're in a game. And oftentimes you can't hear yourself think.
I think 21,750 fans in a lighter shade of blue would beg to differ. In Durham, I'm Brett Thompson reporting.
Brett will update Sports Extra viewers on 10-1 each week leading up to UNC's game at Duke on March 5th. Now, what would you do to fight childhood cancer? In the case of the Carolina Fever Fight Cancer 5K, it means waking up at 7 a.m. to run 3.1 miles. More than 120 runners braved the early morning cold Saturday to run in the second-year event. Runners of all ages signed up to benefit the Versus Cancer Foundation, a nonprofit started by former Tar Heel baseball player Chase Jones. There they enjoyed Bojangles biscuits and a live DJ before taking to the starting line. Participants raised more than $3,000 this year. Now, guys, Brett went to Duke to see what ticketing was all about. What would you guys do for a Duke ticket?
I mean, it's a big deal. I would definitely camp out for a few days, but I don't think months. I mean, that's crazy. What about you, Lewis?
If anyone gets hurt, just ask me. I can give them any part of me to help things out. I'd do anything.
So you would do anything? Yeah. I'm with you.
All right. Jordan Black with sports. Thank you, Jordan. So dating online can be
A couple weeks later, he just sent me some unsolicited nude photos, so thanks, Mark.
Wow, well, dating online can be very, very tricky, Lewis.
But when we come back, Avery, we're going to show you guys that true love can be right within your reach. Valentine's Day is almost here.
Excited. If you're still looking for a date, reporter Madison Cavalcari shows us that the love of your life could be just one swipe away.
It's winter in Chapel Hill, but this sunny day reminds Savannah Ellenberg of the summer she fell in love with Ben Alexander.
I've been told this is the kissing bench.
But these two lovebirds didn't meet on campus. Instead, they met on a dating app called Tinder.
Now, using Tinder is easy. All you have to do is download the app, sync it to your Facebook profile, swipe left if you're not so interested, and right if you'd like to get to know him better. That sign means it's a match.
Savannah and Ben matched in May 2014 and got engaged last summer. But the two say they found each other by chance.
He's lucky that I swiped him to the right when I saw his pictures because there were some questionable ones.
They were each other's first and only Tinder dates.
We actually told people that we just met through some mutual friends. I mean, it was probably a year at least we told that story.
Ben says at the time, meeting on Tinder seemed taboo. But Dr. Neil Thomas, who researches technology and relationships, says for some, Tinder is making a switch from a hookup app to a serious dating app.
We establish cultural codes about what's acceptable behavior on it. And as a result, there's we negotiate a relationship with this technology that just sort of improves over time.
Not everyone will swipe the love of their life, but as for Savannah and Ben, their wedding is set for October 2016.
If you kiss on this bench, what will happen?
You get married?
Yes, okay. you marry the person you kiss.
Well, we're already way ahead of that.
Yeah, we are. But you can still kiss me.
You guys
Okay.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Madison Cavalcari reporting.
What a cute couple. That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Good night.